Hello everyone, I'm back and let me update you on where I'm at. So I made templates of the, let's see, that would be the passenger side lower section. This area right here is missing all of this down here, and I need it to match the other side. I had to pick one side to do first. This side was more complete, so I went ahead and did it. There was a hole right here that I created because I got rid of the turn signal that used to be a bulge right here. So I cut that out and then created this section in through here to fill in the hole. So this fender is from the C8 to C2 project we did last year. So then this is the driver side, the shop that is doing the work for me, cut off the front end. I wish they wouldn't have. It was bolted on. They could have just unbolted it, but they decided to cut it off. Anyway, I did get the parts, and so now I'm trying to modify them to what I want. So what I did was I made templates off of that other piece. So you can see this right here is a matrix of various templates. And then if you look over here, I drew a matrix there of lines. Now, those lines can be anywhere you want. The more uniform their space, the easier this will be. But with such a complex shape, it was hard to get them uniform, and it doesn't really matter as long as you can transfer it. One of the keys is whatever you use on top of here has to be able, you have to be able to see through it, because you need to transfer the lines to the opposite side. You flip that piece inside out, and then you use the template pieces to make sure the contour is correct. All right, so in my case, I used poster board, held it up to the light with a black marker, and was easily able to transfer the lines from one side to the other, and flipped everything 180 degrees and came up with this template right here. Now, this used to be filled with poster board in between, and then I put aluminum tape on top. I put wax on it, and then put fiberglass, 2 layers of fiberglass mat on top of that. And this is the result, the piece that I made. It did not have those marks, obviously. It was rough because you can see the surface of the aluminum tape is not smooth. So I just took some 60 grit on my little sander. It probably didn't take long at all to smooth that out. All right, so if you look, I'll put this on here. You can see that, sure enough, the part matches the template, which of course it should. So the more accurate you are with making your templates, the better your result is going to be. In this case, I kind of did it quick, but it didn't matter. Let's see. I use cardboard, corrugated cardboard. That's not the best thing to use. What is it? Foam board. Foam board would be a lot better. You can use insulation, but the problem with insulation is the thickness. I'm talking about the foam insulation. And anything that's angled on a 40, let's say it's a 45-degree angle, and the insulation is a ½ inch wide, well, that's going to be in the wrong direction when you flip it to the other side. So you're going to have to do a lot of modifying to get it right if you use that approach. Using the foam board, it's really thin, and you won't have that issue. Ideally, obviously, you want a point contact, but that's not feasible. So foam board would work really well. Anyway, I had the cardboard here, and I decided I'd reuse this silly pizza box to do it, and it worked. But it's not the easy. Oh, the other nice thing about foam board is you can sand it. You can sand this, but it's not nearly as easy or as accurate to sand. With the foam board, you can get dead nuts on. Okay, so then once I made this part, I needed to figure out how does it relate to this other one. Now, on most cases, you would have an edge that you could reference. This one, the back edge is rough, the front edge is rough. The only edge I really have is this body seam right there. So what I did was, when I made the templates, I put little hooks on the top of each of these pieces, so that would give me a reference there. So when I put this on top of here, it was a little hard to do one-handed. And then I also mark things like there's F for front, B for back. I've got my templates marked 1, 2, 3, 4, A, B, C, D, so that I can reference them. So what you do is then I can use this and line up. Again, this is hard to do one-handed. But you get the idea that this thing, it hooks right there off of that edge, right there, and then off of the top edge there. So if I do that and I push this down, there we go. You can see that, sure enough, this matches as well. All right. And so I transferred the cross hatch lines, there we go, between the two. Again, there we go. With two hands, this thing matches pretty much almost perfectly. But anyway, so I made the crosshatch line so I would know where this goes front to rear, and then extended that up. So now what I do is I take this piece that I made, the filler piece, and put it there. Now the key is this part right through here is accurate because it's from the car we built last year, and we spent a lot of time making the two sides match. Again, though, I had to cut off where the turn signal is, so this area has to come out. When I put this on here, the reason I did the openings was to see where does this thing interfere, and I found out this comes out too far. It needs to be straight across there. So I made a mark here of where I need to use my cutter, cut that out. So now I use the lines here to align this correctly. And I know that that pocket shelf right there aligns with that pocket shelf right there. So if I take that and put it on there, and again, I use my lines to line things, there we go. You can see that, sure enough, it matches. All right, so my next thing is to screw this in and then trim the pieces so that the two, so I can graft all of this in. So just glancing at it, it doesn't look like it's really accurate, but I'm using my templates both on the old piece over there and the new piece here. It's dead nuts on, honestly. So one of the issues is, see, it's not fitting flush, and that's because of that piece right here sticking out. I can see that from the back side. When I put this on and I look what's contacting, it's that piece right there. I'm not sure if you can see, but that's what's keeping it. There you go. That's what's keeping it from sitting flush. So once I trim this back, I want to trim as little of this as possible because I know this came from the other car and it's accurate. So trim that back until this does fit flush. And so it looks like all I'm going to need is from this kick out down and then from here forward. So that just this area right here is all I need off of this. This was kind of overkill, but again, I always figure it's better to have too much and cut it away and use it as scrap than to have too little. Now, one of the things I do wish is I wish I would have gone farther up there when I made this. Not a big deal, but it would have made this. Now I've got an area I've got to fill in. But then again, the nose that we're using is off of the C2 Grand Sport, and it actually probably, in fact, I know it will, it'll fill in this area. So I really only need up to about that line right there. So anyway, that's where I'm at now. So I'm going to spend time, I'm going to trim it, get it to fit as good as possible, and then screw it all together and then graft it in. All right, that's what I've got. That's probably a day or two worth of work, and I've got to run and do some other things. But anyway, like, subscribe, hit the alert, hit the thanks if you want to donate, and if you don't like what I'm doing, you don't know jack. Bye.